Yeah, I mean, as the name of the company suggests, right? Our North Star is orbital manufacturing. And, uh, uh, and the interesting thing is that, so the space industry is really going through this second renaissance, right? So we had our golden period of the Apollo era, where we made incredible gains in our capabilities of how far we could go and going all the way to the moon, and then kind of lost that a bit over time. But now that has come back strong because space is sort of the next big $1 trillion industry that provides tremendous opportunities for the United States, but also the rest of the world. And so, if you think about, in the recent years, reusable rockets have sort of opened up the door for access to space, right? But I think people need to realize that that's just a first stepping stone, right? You're still limited by how much you can fit inside that rocket body, right? And I use this example. Imagine the forefathers, moving to the U.S., right, and said, "We want to settle here, but we want to keep going back and forth from Europe to bring everything, right? That's just not sustainable. So if you really truly believe in humans becoming spacefaring civilization and actually having hundreds of thousands of people working in space, you have to learn how to make things over there. And actually, you will be able to make incredibly large structures and at dramatically lower costs than what's done to date. So it's a very exciting field. We believe it's the next big thing since reusable rockets, right? This is the next big technology jump that will take us from something to the order of 40x cost reduction to like 100 to 1000x cost reduction. And what that means is a lot of the dirty industries that we have on Earth, you have the potential to actually put them in orbit so that you create less pollution on Earth, uh, and you're able to move a lot of the heavy manufacturing jobs up there. And this is why we are building our machines, our robotic systems that are from day one designed to work on Earth, but also in space. So today you could go out, start working with these systems, get comfortable with them, get trained on them, and you're basically future proofing yourself by doing that because as these new space opportunities open up, you're ready already.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure, like, all the details that would go into, like, how do you have a manufacturing facility in space or potentially in Earth's orbit, but I could 100% see a world uh, where that is the future, or if not in orbit, that it's somewhere like right outside of our orbit, and kind of just floating around out there in space.
So that is already happening, right? So if you, I think most people are familiar with the International Space Station,
Hmm.
which has been sort of these multi-country collaboration over the years. Now it was built sort of one of a kind, so it's incredibly expensive and not really scalable. But what's changing now is that NASA is saying, you know what, we've demonstrated that this can happen. Let's pass this on to private companies. So there are actually several companies, some companies like Axiom Space, Orbital Reef from Blue Origin. There is a Lockheed Martin space station being considered. There is one from Northrop Grumman, and even another company called Vast just announced one. And there's many others actually. So you have a lot of private industry interest in building these floating platforms in space, mostly in low Earth orbit, which is the nearest to Earth, and uh, and they're actually actively looking for applications. If we had such a platform, so Orbital's goal is not to go build that platform. There's companies already working on that. Our goal is to go and then figure out how to take advantage of these platforms and start building the space infrastructure at, again, 100x or more lower cost than what it took traditionally. So if we could build these platforms at such lower cost, then you can build out much more. And that's the first step. It's like, you know as people moved from east to west in the US, right, we had to have railroads, right? That was the important infrastructure step. And once you had railroads, then you had this mass migration, the gold rush, right? So the space, you can really think of it as the kind of the next big gold rush, where people that are risk takers, that are innovative, that are just, or they just want to do something crazy, they're going to be attracted to these type of things.
Hmm.
And we are building the tools that are useful here on earth, but also then you can go potentially in one of these big stations, and you could be manufacturing some really advanced things that are actually better to be made in space than here on earth.